Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We are here to share stories about your time in Malawi, and especially this year, as it's been a long time since Villages in Partnership has been able to send a group to Malawi. And one of the best things we can do right now is reflect on that time together. So I'm so thankful that y'all are here as representatives of Nassau Presbyterian and the partnership, the long-standing partnership that we've had together. I'm Aaron Shaver. I'm on staff at VIP. 2020 was supposed to be my year to go to Malawi. So this is fun for me to hear your answers because you're talking to somebody who knows a lot about VIP, but actually has never been to Malawi. Let's see, I want to just start off asking you to tell us who you are and when you were in Malawi. If that was multiple times, you tell us when all you went and how long you stayed.
I can start. So I'm Carla Tuan. I've been at Nassau. I was actually baptized at Nassau way before I remember. So very infant years. I've belonged to the church ever since. My dad is very active in the church. So I've definitely grown up there. I went to Malawi for the first time in 2018 after graduating college. I actually went by myself with Villages in Partnership, but not in a group setting. And then I went back actually probably almost a year ago on a medical trip in a group setting, and both of them were incredible times, and I'm excited to talk about it.
All right, I'm Stephanie Patterson. I am also a longtime member of Nassau Church. We've been members for 17 years now, 16 years. And I've been to Malawi twice. I went the first time on a friendship trip in 2016, and the second time I went on a friendship trip in 2019.
And I came along on that trip in 2019.
Great. So, Carla, you said one of your trips was a medical trip. Is that right?
Yes.
So how was that different from your previous trip?
So the first trip I did, I was really lucky. The timing didn't work out. So, I kind of known of the organization. So I went alone and taught math in one of the schools for a month. And it was really an incredible experience to really kind of bond with everyone firsthand, because there were no other people from the United States there for most of the month. And I think that was really incredible to really experience Malawi and really be a part of the culture as much as I could be. And then the second trip was a medical trip last March. And that was incredible in its own way, because I was able to go with the group, really observe, all the people from the United States that came to Malawi and really cared about the country and really cared about everyone. So there were two very different trips, but it was really incredible. And the medical trip, it was just a ton of work, but everyone was so eager and so excited to help the people in Malawi. And I have no medical background, so I was pretty much just helping everyone else out. But the skills and the diligence and the hard work that people go there on the medical trip and have is just really astounding.
I want to know, Stephanie, Maddie, on the friendship trip, what did you actually do? The medical team definitely has their tasks that they're doing. What did you do while you were in Malawi?
So on different days, we did different things. We would split up into groups, and on the first day, we went to a church service. And then in that afternoon, we split up and we went to different houses of people that were identified as the poorest people in their villages. We went and saw different things that VIP has done in the villages. So we went and saw where a group went and saw went with the beekeepers. We went to the farms and saw the irrigation systems and the water wells and all of that, which is very cool.
Where did you stay while you were there?
We stayed up at a farm that was outside of the villages, so we had running water and everything, and we had a cook that would make us food.
Okay. Yeah, what you mentioned the food. What was the food like?
We had chicken, eggs, an assortment of fruits and veggies. And then we had the opportunity as women on the trip we went to the market in the morning and got chickens live, and we took them back, and other produce. And we got to have the chicken for lunch.
Yeah, I remember my second day. I was in Malawi completely alone. I think Liz was there for a few days, but we stopped and got lunch, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to get chicken?" And I was like, "Sure." And then we pull up, and they come out with 2 live chickens just hanging by their feet, and I was like, I've never done that before. So that was definitely a shock. I think that was my second day there by myself for the first time. Suffice to say, I've done that multiple times. So
yeah, Madeline got to ride in the back of the truck holding the live
And the fresh cut goat.
And the fresh cut goat, yes. We did eat a goat that had my first trip. The goat was still intact and was on the back of a motorcycle, and the guy took the goat off the back of the motorcycle and chopped it up and stuck it in grocery bags for us, and we took it and cooked it in the village.
yeah, I can't yet say that I've partaken in the actual killing of the animal, but I've partaken in the other pieces of it.
Yeah, they did shield us from the killing of the animals.
So I want to hear about maybe something that was beautiful that stands out in your mind as maybe a holy moment during your trip.
So I think the first few days that I was in Malawi for the first time by myself definitely were kind of scary. I'd never really been to Africa before. I'd never really had been to that kind of country before and that kind of culture. So the first few days I was definitely a little bit nervous, and Liz was there for the first few days, and then she was leaving, and I was in great hands, but I was still kind of nervous because the one person I knew was leaving me in a country in Southeast Africa by myself for a month. So I was a little bit freaked out. And I remember at one point I was walking alone. She hadn't left yet, but I was, not crying, but I was definitely a little bit emotional, but just walking around a little bit scared. And then these kids just appeared randomly out of nowhere just behind me and just started giggling and trying to play ball with me. And it was such a unique and really cool moment where, I was really nervous, I was scared, and then all of a sudden these kids pop out of nowhere. And I kind of remembered why I was there. And it was definitely a moment that I'll always remember because it felt like exactly what I needed at the time.
I think for me, there's several things that come to mind. Yeah, the church services are just incredible. There's dancing and there's music, and everybody is just so enthusiastic and full of life.
About 5 minutes or so, right?
But 3 hours, yeah. 3 hours of sitting on a concrete bench. And Madeline and I were talking about it before. Everybody always has a smile on their face and they're so happy. But what really moved me was the second trip, seeing how things had progressed from the first time I was there. So seeing the fact that so many more people were on bicycles. The first time I was there, having a bicycle was a luxury. And the second time I was there were people riding everywhere on bicycles. The first time I was there, most people had thatched roofs. And we were hearing the stories of the fact that these roofs leaked during the rainy season, and they'd fall in, or things like that. And then the second time I went back, there were more iron roofs. There were more goats. You could just see the progress that had been made by VIP.
Yeah, some people who only hear about our trips are sometimes surprised to hear that VIP has 17 full-time staff members on the ground in Malawi. And going on a trip, you get to see some of that work. But even this last year, when we haven't been able to send any volunteers, that work has still continued. There's still been progress made. It's really neat that you were able to see just, what was that, 3 years difference?
Yeah, it was 3 years.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. I want to hear how your trip in Malawi might have changed the way you live your life here.
I think especially with the times that have happened over the summer and everything that's been going on with racism, it was I realized it more this year than right when I came back. But these people are so accepting and welcoming with opening arms. They are like, they always have a smile on their face. No, like they have little to nothing, like 1 to 2 different outfits, and they never fail to be happy and accepting to others. And we have more than we could ever ask for, and we still can't think of each other as equal.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way to put it. Definitely, there are people there are just so friendly and so welcoming and so generous. You go there for dinner and they don't have very much money. They don't have anything at all. And they'll just give you the best food that they have and the best meals that they'll have. And they'll take time to prepare it for you. And that's just really incredible. I think something that else that stuck out to me was someone, Mata, who's one of the VIP staff. I was talking with her daughter a lot as I was there for my month. And she was asking me, oh, where does your food come from? And I'd said, oh, the grocery store, just kind of thinking of Whole Foods. And she said, okay, but where does the food come from the grocery store? Like, where does it actually come from? And I could not answer. I was like, my berries might come from California. I don't really know. She was like, so how do they get it to the grocery store? And I just had no idea. And then I remember when I came home, I walked into the Whole Foods and it was just ginormous and everything was available. And I just had this moment of, whoa, like this is just such a different world. I have no idea where any of this food comes from or how it ends up here, but it just does. And it's such a luxury to have.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. Bob, hello.
Hello. I'm sorry to be late.
That's all right. We're glad you're here and glad to have your perspective.
Okay, I'm Bob Wells, Nassau Church member, along with Stephanie and the Pattersons. And Loretta and I went in August of 2019. Is that right, Steph?
That's right.
Yeah, it was quite eye-opening indeed.
But what's something you found surprising during your trip, either about the culture or the trip itself? Just something surprising.
I found that the people that we ran into to be so friendly, to be so warm with us, that I somehow, I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but I wasn't, and I just, everyone we met were so kind and warm with us. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you've all mentioned the hospitality and warmth.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Of the culture. I think that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. When you drive up into a village, they start singing songs to welcome and dancing and singing about VIP and it's just amazing. It's like nothing I've ever experienced.
They don't do it here. That's for
sure. They don't do it here. and they sing and they dance and they pull up chairs and make sure that they put down mats for the women and pull up chairs for the men, make sure that everybody has some place to sit, and the children come running over and just want to see you. It's very cool.
And I think that is just incredible. I guess something, not to put a damper on the mood, but something that I think I was surprised by, and anyone would be surprised by coming to the United States, is just the level of poverty there. And I don't think you can really understand it from, at least I couldn't. I'm living in the United States, living in such a wealthy first world country. And then when you go there, I think even if you visualize it, even if you completely understand what you're getting yourself into, it's really hard to come from a country like this and go there and just not be shocked by the level of poverty and the lack of resources they have there. And, that in juxtaposition with the hospitality is incredible. But that's also, something that surprised me.
And we went the summer of 2019, so it was right before the gala. And we were discussing with some of the people that we had planned on bringing, like what they were about their future trip to the United States. And you realize how much they're in poverty, but they start talking to you and they're like, I've never used a fork in my life. I don't know how to use a toilet, a shower. The little things we use every day that like you don't even ever think about.
Yeah. We took, during each friendship trip, you go on a safari, and each trip VIP sends a staff member to experience the safari. When you go on the safari, the accommodations are much like a hotel that we would stay at in the United States. They're, really, really nice. And it's interesting watching the staff member who oftentimes they've only lived in the villages. And the person that came with us, she had never slept in the bed. She had never slept between sheets. So she didn't know what to do with the bed. She'd never taken a shower. I think she stayed in there for an hour. She loved it. It was just, these things, and seeing these everyday things for us that we take for granted through their eyes. That was very surprising.
So what would you guys say to somebody who is considering a trip to Malawi with VIP?
Do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Go in with an open mind, no expectations, and just soak it all up.
Yeah, I agree. I would say just do it. I'm trying to convince my family to go. It's really different, and it'll change your perspective. And just do it.
So since your trip, how do each of you continue to be involved with VIP?
So I'm a board member. I've been on the board now for 4 years, I guess, 5 years. I sit on the HR and personnel committee. And so I'm still very active in that way. I'm sorry?
You're very busy right now.
I'm very busy right now. I know. I realize this is, I think, my 5th hour this week that I've spent with VIP. And then 3 hours tomorrow. So it'll be a very VIP heavy week. But yeah, I'm involved through the board, but also attending things like the water walk, talking to people who are considering taking a friendship trip as well.
And then I've been involved in a subcommittee that's looking into the usage of the new farm that has just been purchased. And so we've had a couple of Zoom meetings that we've been on together, and have been interacting with the staff over there in Malawi, who are they put in a crop already. So planning out where the fencing is going to go, and the buildings, and how power is going to be brought in. And so a lot of stuff to think about. It's going to be a great venture, I think.
I guess I'm just involved generally with VIP, doing the events, just being involved in, not an official level, but just from a support level, I guess. And I guess the other thing that I would just mention is, just because you leave Malawi doesn't mean that your relationships with the people that you've met in Malawi ends. I'm constantly texting Sydney or a lot of people in Malawi. So, I guess that is also a large part of my involvement, and it's not directly tied to, the organizational piece of it, but just in terms of kind of an everyday piece of it. You're always going to have those relationships, and you're constantly going to be in contact with people that you met over in Malawi.
I think it's so great that I know that just on this call, there is a combination of financial support, time support, but also relationships. Like, you still have people over there that you just send WhatsApp messages to, and Bob, you get to be on Zoom calls with our staff planning out this farm project. And it's so neat that it didn't have to be just a one trip, 1 week, and your experience was over, but this has become sort of an ongoing thing for you. And
Yep.
I mean, on behalf of VIP, I'm extremely grateful that you guys have continued to be engaged.
Well, we're grateful that you do all that you do. So,
Erin, you know how I feel about the work that you do. So,
Well, thanks. I have one more question for y'all. How can members of Nassau be involved with VIP's mission right now? We still don't have another trip on the books quite yet, though that will be coming hopefully soon. But how can people be involved today?
so I would say follow the Facebook page, the Instagram. You follow it through social media. The water walk is coming up on May the 22nd. So there's an opportunity for everyone to get involved there. It'll be virtual again, right, Erin? Yeah, it'll be virtual again. And so it'll be a great online event that you can participate in. And then you can give. We have lots of fundraising opportunities through Giving Tuesday, the year-end appeal, and the water walk as well.
I would also just, I would also just say, if you're new to VIP, if you're new to the story, what I did a lot before I visited for the first time was read a lot of the blogs about their experiences in Malawi. I think I read all of them like 10 times over before I went. And I think that gives you a really good perspective of the stories there, of the people that go there and the experiences that they have. And hopefully at one point, when it's possible, you too can go over there. And I think the blogs are a great way to kind of understand what's going on in the ground in Malawi and what VIP is all about.
All right, you guys, this was really great. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, and I hope that you had fun reliving some memories. I'm going to close this out in prayer.
Okay.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
God, our creator, we thank you that you have made us relational beings who depend on partnership with you and partnership with our fellow human beings. And we thank you for putting this work here in front of us, this partnership between our little villages, our churches, our schools, our families, with villages on the total other side of the world in rural, secluded Malawi, Africa. And I thank you so much for the development that's happening, for the people whose lives are being changed by these partnerships. And that presents itself both in families escaping extreme poverty, and it presents itself in our lives here being changed by hospitality that we encounter when we get to go over. I pray that you are watching over our brothers and sisters in Malawi as they are dealing with a big spike in COVID cases. And I pray that you continue to protect the ones in the most rural villages and keep them safe. God, we also pray that you can open up doors for our teams here to be able to visit again, and to reconnect, to make new friendships, to experience life in a totally other culture, one that is just truly gives Malawi its name of the warm heart of Africa. It's through your son, Jesus, that we pray. Amen.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.